Alright, this is Ryan Rickard, doing commentary of Halloween November 1st. This is the beginning credits of the film. By the way, I just want to let you guys know that I'm really, really bored Saturday night and I really don't want to do anything, so I thought, why not do a commentary on this film since I'm, going on with The Haunting of Ghostface. I'm working on that, and then Revenge of Ghostface, and then, what's the next one? Halloween November 3rd, which is going to be basically wrapping up this entire little trilogy short film thing. This part right here was Cassidy. She was trick-or-treating on the night, and I thought, well, why not just add that in there? And that blood on her hands was used for the same part as when she got killed at the end, so I thought that was really, really cool. So now we're waking up here. This was shot in Waukesha at this apartment where mom would take us because she was staying with her uncle for a while. I mean, her brother. And I saw, we got really bored. I mean, we had Kenny come over because he wanted to hang out with us because we had a good Halloween night. We went to, Halloween houses and all this stuff. And this is where this all began. He's like, well, why don't we make a Michael Myers movie here? And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, okay, well, we got to call the film. And he was like, I don't know. Excuse me. He was like, how about November 1st? And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good title. I mean, we were trying to find a title for this film, and I really didn't realize what kind of title we were gonna want to use. And this was the perfect title, I guess. But people, I guess, liked or didn't like. And yes, that's a real trick-or-treating bag. That was all the candy she ate, and I wish I'd filmed a lot more of that in here. I wish I filmed that bag. That phone in that bag is long gone, and the chocolate is gone. She pooped it out. It's in the sewers. You can try to look for it, even though I doubt you'll find it. This is him closing the door. I wanted that dramatic shot. This is when I edited really, really bad. I mean, I'm getting better, but this hole right here, I mean, it was really, really bad. The camera work. I mean, I didn't have a tripod at the time. I didn't get a tripod, I think, until it was about my birth. No, it was Christmas of 2009. This is like going way back, and this is before my great grandmother died. Rest in peace. This was a good year. I mean, 2009 had ups and downs, definitely, for me. I mean, I almost got murdered that year, and I mean, but things got put back together, and I guess, but towards the end of 2009, I had a really good time. I mean, I got the apartment and everything like that, but I went through all depressions and stuff like this after this movie, and then I got out of it, and then that's when I finished November 2nd, which I'll probably do the commentary for this. The second one probably later on, which I have a lot more to explain. But next on to this movie, I thought I'd get a shot of him walking up the stairs, and people are wondering, is he black? Is he, and he's both. He's black and Mexican, and I thought he had tan enough skin to just, have just a family kind of Greek, or I just pretend Kenny's just a Greek or, Mexican, like these are Mexican characters or Greek, whatever, instead of black. But nothing against black people. But Michael Myers isn't black. But Kenny pulled it off enough to not even realize that he's a black guy or whatever. Like he's too cool. He's too good of an actor. I mean, don't even realize. So it doesn't even really matter on your color or whoever you are. It just depends on your creativity and how you do your performance in these films. And Cassie did a good job. This is probably the only film that she had fun with after this. She really didn't want to make any more, because this was like one-time thing. Like right after this, she started to get through a lot of puberty, and her hormones changed and stuff like this. Like right after this movie, like I think it was beginning of December, she went through big changes, and we wanted to finish the film. This was when we started working on the second one, and in December is when she was still kind of eh. But then after that, towards the end of the film, she did not want to make it at all. She got into all these new friends, and this is when she was dorky and, you know, wasn't in style. But then after this, she started getting the style and made a lot of friends, and she became popular, and she didn't want to do my stupid movies anymore. And I guess it's sort of like that still, but, you know, since she's working on her last movie right now, The Haunting of a Ghost Face, this, you know, it will be her last film. I mean, working with my movies, so I guess that's sort of a cool thing, but she did a really good job. I'm really happy with her 2 performances in these 2 films, and, you know, it's great to work with her in this last film that we're working on right now. And it's gonna suck, you know, that she's not gonna be doing any more after this. I mean, she might do an animated voice for the Killer Clown movie or something like that, maybe, I don't know. But for performance-wise, like, to see her on screen, I mean, it'll be her last time, and it's gonna suck. But you know, she's a great actress, and I really hope she gets in the acting business, because she just does a phenomenal job. This part right here by the Coca-Cola, we were actually gonna go over there, and she's gonna put $1 in and like get a sip of Coke, and then go on and with the knife again. But we felt like that was pushing the envelope with the humor in this film, and so we just were like, forget it. And you know, this is her freaking out, and then I love that shot right there. And we're like, well, how is he gonna, you know, get back and grab her that quickly? We're like, well, why don't we just have him, you know, pop out of nowhere from anywhere, like one of these windows or something like that, like over there. And, you know, we're like, well, you know, it go along with the fantasy, and that's sometimes what you have to do with these films. And this part right here is probably her best performance of all the movies she's been in. All these is that scream right there, what do you want, and all that. Like, you can feel her pain or fear. I mean, that this was like her best moment. And, you know, I think this is her best film. I mean, she did a great job. I mean, she played a dumb brunette, but actually, when I was putting this together, editing the shot right here, she was going really, really fast, and we started laughing really, really hard because it was too intense. It's such a short time. And this is when I started getting into slow motion, when I started editing this film. I was like, oh, why don't I slow things down? And now I'm so into slow motion now with any movie I work on now. Because, you know, you don't want to, like, have the audience, you know, kind of put them in such an intense spot. You want things to be slowed down. You want them to feel that effect. And you don't want to go too fast, because if you do, then they're just going to be like, what? You know, and that's how I kind of got cluttered in, I guess, in this film, or basically the second film, I guess. And this is so funny because then when they roll her, you don't see the blood from her neck anymore. We actually cleaned that up, and then we put the rest of the blood in her face, and it was stinging on her face. Like, she was like, this is really sticky and stinging, and we were like, oh my god. And then we just left her there, like, dead on the floor. Like, we were like, whatever. And, like, Kenny was like, okay, where are we going? And I'm like, well, why don't we go over to wherever, just to get a dramatic shot. And this is when I started to get into, like, cinematography, you know, like angles and stuff like that. Like right, this is when history was made, you know, because I don't make it as a director. I do want to make it as a cinematographer, because I love making, like, the cinematography with films and all that. And I love this shot. This is by far my favorite shot of the film. It's one of my favorite shots, going through the woods and all that. And you can hear the little effect on the camera and all that. So, I mean, this is cool. I like this, the Waukesha sign. And basically at the end of this was a sign of, like, him going back to the school or something, like, or going to kill kids at school. And we were just thinking really disturbingly. So this is Ryan Rickert, RBR Short Films 13. I hope you enjoyed the commentary of this movie, and hopefully I'll be back for November 2nd. Thanks for watching, and go to my YouTube account. Subscribe.